Alright, so here's today's project. We're going to be taking down these two trees. Probably won't get both of them done today. I'll probably just start on the one closest to me. Get it down on the ground. At least get the brush up and out of here. I was here like 2 years ago or so. Trimmed them all, but I guess they're building an addition onto the house. So they just want these down. So I'm going to use this saw here. This is steel HT. I think it's 131. Yeah, 131. It's not the greatest of all time, but it does a lot. I also beat on this thing pretty hard too, so can't really blame everything on the saw. I had to get glasses on. Hold on a second. Alright, now we're good to go. So I could use the lift, could have brought that back in here, and just got everything from the lift. But I'm gonna try using just the saw. I don't think I need the lift. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Thinking I might need to lift that. I don't know, I could get that upper one though. I didn't really look at this too well before I came over here. I also, when I trimmed these, I didn't even own a lift then, so I was able to trim these with just this saw. But they've had some years to grow, so. There we go. That one's on the ground. Hit the bushes a bit, but I can deal with that. What I might do too is hook a rope to it, cut it, and then just pull it that way. I don't have to direct it completely that way, I just have to pull it so it misses the corner of the house. Yeah, I think I can do that. I can get a rope up there, hook it to the truck, just pull on it real hard, and like I said, I mean, I'm not going to get it over here, but I can get it, so it'll clear the house. But I'll get that after I get some of these other ones. I'm just getting this stuff on the ground. That's safer. Then I'll probably clean up a bit and then attempt that one. You get some Dutchmans in these cuts. There's nothing. This is gonna hurt. It's just to make it so the tree don't get hung up. I don't always trim them things on the ground with this saw. I was just doing that while I think a little bit about what I'm doing here. Not making an undercut on this because I want it to feel. I don't want this one to drop. There we go. I wanted that one to hold on. I wasn't sure if it was going to hit that stop sign. This actually doesn't stick out quite all that far past the house. Let's see how far I can get this up. I think last time I was on the ladder. Yeah, I don't want to drop that much. Nah. But what I can do, start getting these down. Think. We'll cut it there. Well, I don't know. Let's see what we got going on over here first. Yeah, I'm going to take this one, flop it down that way, I think. And I can do the same thing to that one. In the center, flop it down over that way. Then I can really get some momentum on that branch. And this one here, I think if I can come in with the 661, I can drop that towards my truck. Yeah, I think that's probably what I'll end up doing. Chance this can go wrong too, but if it gets hung up in this tree here, not a big deal because that's coming down as well. As long as it don't hit me or the house or go into traffic, we'll be good. Starting to move a little bit. Checking for traffic. Oh, it's coming. Boom, right where I wanted it to go. Alright, not too bad. think that I might actually drop the whole tree over towards my truck. And then just kind of quickly get rid of it. Because that will pull this branch away from the house as it goes down. And I won't have to mess with anything. And I just cut it up all on the ground. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll hook a line up to it, kind of pull in that direction towards the stop sign. But I'll make my notch going right towards that guy's garage. This whole thing should come down. It's weighted pretty heavily that way. So if I pull it that way, cut that way, it should flop in this direction. Let me take a step back and think about this. Yeah, I think I can do that. I think I can cut this, plop the whole tree that way. This will clear the house. If I do it right, it'll also clear that little pear tree or whatever that is over there. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I may have to clean up some of this stuff to get back close enough with the rope that I have. And then the rope is just kind of more for added safety, not really relying on it. Yeah, I think that's probably what I'm gonna do. Yeah, let me clean up some, then I'll think about it some more. Alright, so I got a new plan. I'm not even gonna hook a rope to this. I'm just gonna cut it down. It'll drop wherever in this direction. That branch there might hit the pear tree a little bit, not too hard. back and get all this crap out of the way. So I can make a safe escape route if this thing goes south. Well, the tree's gonna go south, but if the project does not go the way I want it to, then I can quickly get out of the way. Do not have to trip over all this wood. This is all honey locust, so it's pretty heavy and dense, hard to cut through. I sharpened this thing this morning before coming here because I knew it was going to be pretty rough going. Alright, so I got my truck parked there. Nobody will be taking up the lane closest to this tree, hopefully. I'm going to aim for that pine tree. I should get everything going that way enough. Let's get her going. With this tree stuff, you never want to rush. You only get one chance to take this thing down correctly, but there's a million ways you can take it down the wrong way. So kill switch accidentally. outside, which is okay, as long as it gets away from the house. That's all I'm worried about. I might even put a swinging judgment in this to get it to push more towards the side. Alright, so we're about ready to cut through the hinge, so I don't want to do that. I could still cut just a little bit more over here if I have to. I'm going to pound some wedges in it first, see what happens. Really don't want to lose that hinge on this tree, so I'm going to pound wedges. I have more wedges in the truck if I need them. Which I think I might. Well, this one ain't doing nothing. That one is. It's starting to pick up at least. It's starting to go. Let's see if I can pound one in here. I'm gonna get this thing to go here. let me try and double stack some wedges in there. It's gonna go. I'm gonna walk around here in case it does fall. It's gonna fall on me. Alright, I got every wedge that I brought today. I'm gonna go around this way this time. I think it's gonna hit just barely before the road, but it'll still be in the yard. The reason why it's not going over yet is because I cut it aiming too far that way, so the weight of the tree is really trying to resist us here, which I knew that was going to happen. That's why I did it this way, so I can get that tree to go right towards that guy's driveway if I counteract the weight of the tree just a little bit. This locust wood will hold on forever too. It's not very forgiving in that aspect of it. Oops. So definitely going that way. I think if I waited like 10 minutes, it would just fall itself. Right where I thought it would go. Alright. That wasn't too bad. Now let's see where it landed. I'll bring the saw out there just in case I gotta cut some back off the road. Definitely got to blow all them sticks back, but hit just where I thought it would. I estimated that pretty well. Right on the road line. So, like literally right on the road line. So that wasn't too bad. I'll set this truck up and I'll start shipping. I probably won't show you guys this whole cleanup process because it's gonna take a couple hours and nobody will want to watch that. I'll show you using that chipper on this stuff. Like I said, this is all honey locust. It's some pretty thick, pretty dense stuff. I think that a lot of people around here call this stuff ironwood, just because of how tough it is. It's a shame to see this tree go. I really didn't want to cut it down, but if I didn't do it, somebody else would have. So yeah, clean this one up and then I'll get that one down. Like I said, that one probably won't happen today. Then I gotta get a skid steer in here, clean up them stumps. So yeah, I'll just do some stuff off camera here. I did want to talk about this cut here that I made in the hinge. You saw on this side it was getting pretty thin, like I was about to cut through, and that's okay because I designed it to do that. I wanted some thick holding wood over here, some thin holding wood over here. It's going to help ensure that it swings the way I want it to when you're trying to cut a tree down that's got a lot of weight. Like the weight was going here, but I wanted the tree to go more that way. So if you put more holding wood over here, less holding wood over here, it'll help counterbalance the weight of the tree and help assist you getting it where you need it to go. I mean, you're not going to swing a tree in 180 degrees from the weight, but without using a rope, you know, this will help you get it a few degrees of swing out of it. And it's really good when you have a locust tree like this, because this stuff will hold on forever. It does not want to break. So that's why I had to cut it so thin as well and use as many wedges. I could have cut it a little bit thinner over here, but I could have cut clear through it to about here and then use that as holding wood. But you know, there's a million ways to do this stuff. Like I said, you know, you only get one chance to get it down correctly. But there's a million and one ways to get it wrong. So pick what you're confident in and just sort of go with it. starts. Now I gotta take a hopper in, shoot off. Alright, so then after that, we got that big huge pile of brush condensed down into this little tiny pile of wood chips right here. I still got some more chipping to do. So I mean, this truck's gonna probably get filled up before I complete this job. Not a big deal, because the place I unload at is like 2 miles down the road from this particular tree. So, I'm not worried about having to go unload this. But yeah, then after I've been chipping for a while, I'll shovel things to the front. And rearrange everything, keep going. Alright, so just an update on how this job's going. I got about half the tree chipped up. I've been stacking the firewood over there. But yeah, I got about half the tree chipped up. Most of it's all cut. There's just a little bit that I couldn't get to with the chainsaw. But most of it's all cut. I just gotta move the chipper over there and chip it up. This is the load of chips that we got so far. I could get a little bit more in here if I needed to. But I'm gonna go unload this. It's about time for lunch anyway. Like I said, the place that I unload this is only about 2 miles away from here. So I'm not worried. If I have to make more trips, then I need to. It's not that far of a drive, and I don't live that far from here either. But yeah, I'll probably be able to chip the rest of this into the next truckload. So it'll be 2 truckloads of chips. Firewood that I have in this pile, and then the pile over here, is probably going to be a full load for the Toyota. So, since there's so much wood here, I'll probably have to get my dump trailer emptied. There's a bunch of steel in it right now, so I'll have to get that emptied before I can come and pick up the wood, because I don't want to make 10 trips of firewood with this thing if I can avoid it. But the firewood doesn't take up too much space. I can stack it all nice, well, not nice and neat, but I can stack it in a big pile. It won't take up too much space, and then I can come pick it all up once I get this tree down as well. So yeah, that's an update on this job. I'll probably turn the camera off and wait until I get the stump grinder out. Let you watch that. Alright, so for those of you who were thinking this was going to be more than 2 loads of brush or wood chips, you were correct. This is load number 2. We are completely full now. I'm not getting nothing else on there. I mean, I could if I had like sidewalls or something, but this is about the weight limit of this truck anyway. The last time I weighed in a load of chips stacked up like this one is, I was at like 700 pounds. You add me, that's 1,000 pounds. Plus all the gear in there, we're looking at like 1,100 pounds or more. That's the capacity of this truck. So that's all I'm gonna haul. For those of you who are wondering, yes, I do have to shovel this truck out when I get to the dump site. That's what the shovel's there for. Sometimes I use a steel shovel. Sometimes I use a pitchfork. There's no leaves on the trees right now, so this shovel's been working okay. I have all these piles of brush, small little sticks still laying around. I'm gonna go around tomorrow probably when I have my trash can, and I'll pick all them up. I don't really like chipping piles like that. It clogs the chipper. And then sometimes you can rake up rocks and whatnot, so I usually try to just pick this stuff up, throw it in a trash can, and then put it in the truck. It's not a big deal when I have the dump trailer, because I can just stomp it down, then I'll unload it. You know, I'm just hitting a button, boom, wait 2 minutes, pull forward, hit another button, goes back down, close the tailgate, and move on with life. With this truck, when I pick up piles like this, it can be annoying. But it's whatever, you know. And here's the tree. I'm about to start cutting on this one still. That's pretty much all I got to do left with this tree, is cut up the firewood and then haul everything out. All the brush is already raked up. So once I haul that out of there, that'll be done. Then the stump, I had to cut that lower, and then I will be grinding these two stumps, this one. So yeah, that'll probably be the next thing you guys see in this video, because this is pretty monotonous, you know, just cutting it up, throwing the wood into piles. Nothing too exciting. And then this one here is going to be the same deal, you know. I'll cut off the limbs that are on the back side there, that are weighted towards the trampoline. And then I'll have to hook a rope to this one. There's too much weight going that way, even when I do remove some of the wood. But I'll hook a rope to it. Just cut it, pull it this way, pretty much right over top of this pile of wood here, pretty much where I'm standing. And that tree will be on the ground, and then we just do the same thing. Just cut up what I can, chip what I can, and then haul it off. Alright, so that's the end of the day here. I got all that tree cut up. I may have to cut more, like to split it, but it's all cut up into firewood chunks. I'm not sure if I can roll that onto the trailer. These things don't look that big, but this wood is freaking heavy, man. Yeah, it smoked my chain on that last cut. I gotta go home and sharpen it. This stuff, even if you have a brand new chain, this locust wood, it's gonna feel like you have a dull chain going through pine. It's some really thick stuff that is really hard to cut. So if you don't have a really sharp chain, you're not getting through this. It will smoke your chain. I had a customer, one of the very first rounds I did, where I had the rental lifts. So like back in the early days of the tree service, I think it was the second pretty big tree that I ever did. I got wrapped up on a huge locust tree. This thing was like 4 or 5 trailer loads of wood with my dump trailer. And then the customer was doing all the brush, and then they took some firewood as well. So it was a massive tree. It was over top of a trailer too, which didn't help. But anyway, the guy that was on the ground cutting the wood, he didn't know how to sharpen a chainsaw, so he would get like 3, maybe 4 limbs done. Sometimes he would hit the dirt, not even get a full cut, not even get a full cut in. He would hit the dirt. It would just smoke his saw chain instantly. Like, this stuff is thick. So yeah, or not thick. It's dense. I mean, you can take a look at the the rings on this, I mean, they're just like they're packed in there. So yeah, it's a pretty rough cutting stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna go unload this truck, take the important stuff away from here, and then come back in the morning, I think. And then eventually I'll come back and you guys will probably see me grind the stumps. I estimate that this tree, now that it's all cut up, I'm assuming it's probably going to be 5 or 6 loads of wood with the Tacoma. I might be able to do it in 4, but I mean, I'm going to be way overweight, so yeah. And then that's not even including this tree, so I think it'll probably be end up being 2 trailer loads if I use my dump trailer. So that's still a lot. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Alright, so I lied. I'm gonna put 2 more segments of this video in. So this is load number 5, about ready to go out from this tree job. The last 3 loads have been like 2/3 wood chips, 1/3 these little tiny sticks. So that'll be the last load of wood chips. We got all the brush cleaned up. I got both trees down. This is the big pile of wood we got. It's a lot of wood, but I'm going to include this part of the video for those that might find it interesting. This is my saw. It's a MS 661. It's not ported, although it's not completely stock. I do have a bark box on it. And then I got a 25-inch bar on it. I sharpened it myself, the chain. Historically, I've been using them file guides, like all sorts of different file guides. Well, recently, within the last week, I ditched all the guides and I just started using a straight file. It seems to be working a lot better somehow. So I got this saw sharper than it's ever been, outside of having a brand new chain on it. And I'm gonna cut this locust tree up, the remainder of it, and then that way you guys can see. I don't know, some people find that interesting. So yeah, I can't show you how I sharpened it. If you want to see how other people do it, probably the best guy I would recommend watching is Buckin' Billy Ray Cyrus. He's got a YouTube channel. He's been doing the tree stuff a lot longer than I have. I didn't even purposely get into doing this. I accidentally started the tree service, that's a story in and of itself. So yeah, this is the tree. I'm gonna slap my earmuffs on and get this saw started. That's all the cutting I'm gonna do. The rest of this stuff, like this one was fairly heavy, but I can roll it up onto the dump trailer. This is the grain pattern in this wood here. I'll get my glove off here so I can see what the camera's looking at. Alright. Yeah, I think these trees are pretty cool looking on the inside. It's a shame it wasn't big enough to mill into a slab. But yeah, it's pretty thick, or pretty tough. This is a honey locust, in case you missed that. But yeah, I got some steel in my dump trailer. I had to get that unloaded tomorrow. Today is Sunday, so I can't get it unloaded. So once I get that unloaded, then I can come over, swing by and start picking up the firewood. And then I guess I'll show you loading up some of it. Probably not all of it. There's probably about 2 loads here, at least. That'd be fairly boring. Straight hour and a half of me just chucking wood. But yeah. I'm here at another dump site I don't normally go to, but it's Sunday, and the place I normally go to won't let me dump on Sunday because they're religious, you know. So I'm here, and what's crazy is like people come here and like they spend money transporting stuff like this, and then just dump it for like they're spending money to dump this stuff. Like you don't have to pay to dump here, but like they're spending money to get it here. They had to have had a machine to load this stuff. Perfectly good mill logs, and you know, people just dump it. I think this place is probably just gonna burn it, which is crazy. Like that was probably done by a professional tree service, or like somebody that has like a whole bunch of equipment and stuff at their house. So I just think it's crazy, like somebody can afford a tractor to load that, stuff like that, but they can't afford to spend 5 minutes to figure out where to get paid to take that log. Because I mean, there's a bunch of pallet mills around here that will pay you for that stuff. I mean, you're not going to get rich off of one log, but like they do pay a good bit of money for some of the logs people dump at these places. I mean, I get dumping firewood here, you know, like I don't sell firewood for too much. Like some of these mill logs, I mean, that would probably get turned into like, I don't know how many pallets, probably a bunch. I don't know. I always try to find like responsible sources to get rid of things. I don't even like coming here because I know they're probably just going to burn things. I'd rather take this to somebody that's going to turn it into mulch, but you know, gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. I get that's why some of these logs are here, but there's generally a whole bunch of them. It's crazy. Alright, so I'm back out here. I'm gonna pick up some of this wood. I'll include this clip, I guess. Or I'll at least film it. You'll notice our truck's in the middle of the road. Some of you guys might think I'm a piece of shit, but there's a stop sign over there. That road does nothing but loop around to this intersection in both directions. So somebody can't figure out how to get around me. That's their own fault. So pretty much I'm just going to throw this pile into the trailer, yeah. Then move the trailer, get all the wood piled up. You can see they were out here. They marked the gas line. That's the stump I gotta grind. That's the gas line. Should be far enough away. Should be okay to grind it. I don't think I would want to use a stump bucket and rip that one up though, in case there's any roots that go down there. So somebody, I was reading a comment this morning, somebody said, I need to stop walking so much in my videos, in my dumpster diving videos, because I'm huffing and puffing and it sounds like I smoke 8 packs a day. It ain't the walking that does it. I'm picking this stuff up, throwing it in the truck and trailer, sometimes digging around. Thousands of pounds of trash. So it's repeated heavy lifting, repeated throwing of heavy objects. It's gonna get anybody out of breath. I don't care who you are. So I'll fill this trailer up real quick when I stop talking. And it's you know, if I load this thing, it'll probably have 5-6 tons of wood in it. I'm gonna load this up in less than an hour. So you know, pretty physically intense job. Wood or scrap metal. And, I think it's funny, the person that commented that looks like they ain't walked a mile in the last 10 years. So, whatever, man. Hey, I'm gonna shut up, just load here. Dust in my eyes. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's the breathing heavy. Ain't the walking. I barely even put my feet there. Now, what's the record for shot put? Like 35, 40 foot or so? I don't know how heavy a shot put is. That's a 14-foot trailer. Standing at least 10 foot behind it. No run up or nothing. About a 25-foot shot. Sounds like I smoke 8 packs a day.
Yeah, I do have to take a breather here. You know, this is some pretty tense stuff. That's at least half a ton, if not more, right there. 3/4 of a ton or whatever. For those that don't know math, that's 1,000 to 1,500 pounds. For those of you that don't know SAE, that's about somewhere close to 800 kilos. Between 500, yeah, so I think between 450 to 800 kilos. I may not be doing the math correct. with my puffing and puffing here, you know. This stuff is way heavier than pine. So if you ain't familiar with honey locust, I dare you to try to pick some of this stuff up. It's actually funny because somebody I was delivering wood to at one time, he asked me, what machine do you use? I told him I pick it all up by hand. He said, that's pretty funny. But seriously, he's like, what machine do you use? He's like, I got a John Deere 1025. I can't even pick up one end of this stuff. I was like, well, no, seriously, I pick it up by hand. I load this stuff by hand. And he's like, no, like, seriously. He's like, whatever machine you got, I wanna get one of those. He's like, seriously, like, what machine do you use? I walked over to the log that he was struggling with. I just flipped it over. Picked it up like a football player flips a tire. And he was like, oh, I guess you were right. I was like, yeah, I told you. I don't use no machine. I wish I had one, but I can't afford one right now. I could get my tractor over here, pick up all this stuff, but it's going to cost me a couple $100. And my machine is not the most reliable thing in the world, you know. As a matter of fact, I didn't even have that machine until after this conversation took place. Sometimes, though, I will cheat. Not very round. Luckily, I'm on a hill, so going down the hill at the moment. Piece is probably like 600 pounds. For those of you wondering. So yeah, I may breathe a little bit hard when I'm out here working. But if you're the person that left me that comment, I would really like to see you load this trailer up. Heck, I'd even like to see you a 40-foot or 40-yard container that has no ladder. I'd really like to see that. That's one pile down. 3 to go. I'm just gonna grab these 2 little tiny ones here. Then I'm gonna move the truck, take a break. Yeah, I don't know if anyone will find that interesting. That's how I live this thing. You know, it'd be nice to have a machine. Yeah, if I get even one of them Rural Kings or whatever, them RK55s or something. I need something bigger, especially I want to be able to run a stump grinder with a, be able to grind these big locust stumps, even the bigger maple stumps. There's one I cut down, a tree that I cut down over by that dude's trailer. I think it was 6 foot in diameter. Somebody else ground the stump though. Some other dude bought the house after I'd cut the tree down. He wanted the stump out, and then another tree and some other stumps. I gave him a price when I was working on this house across the road here, but it was probably too expensive. But yeah, it'd be nice to have a tractor that could load this thing and also grind the stumps, and then use the bucket to take out all the crap from the stump, put it in the trailer. There's another stump hole down the road here. Somebody just left a mountain of stump grindings, and I try not to do that. So historically, I've been cleaning all that crap up by hand. But more recently, I've been renting skid loaders, which I'll probably have a video of that here soon. And then I'll show you the video of me grinding this stump. That'll be kind of fun. But yeah, I'll probably load the rest of this stuff up off camera, and then I don't know, depending on how long the video is, maybe make a separate video grinding the stumps. But yeah, this is the job here. Alright, I moved the truck. Looks really funky. Looks like the trailer's broken or whatever. It's not. It's because I'm in a ditch with the truck, and the trailer's going up a hill still. So it looks really funky. But I would consider this pile number 3. Move that one. Move this one off camera. Now I'm on this one. I don't know if I'll consider that this pile. I only try to load it just slightly above these sides. If I loaded it all the way up to these sides, especially with this locust wood, it's going to be way overweight. This trailer will probably handle it, but my tires, for running heavy so often, like this one here, it's bald on the outside because of all the weight I'm running. Especially with that 770 thing, really screwed that tire up. And then I only have a little 2500 hooked up to it, so it ain't no big 1 ton or like them 5500s. That's just a little 2500. We're getting close to an hour that it's taking me to load all this stuff. Not quite there yet, so it'll probably be an hour when it's all said and done here. I ain't gonna lie, I am getting pretty tired right now. My left leg's all jacked up. You know, this is a lot of work. I ain't as young as I once was. Some people are going to say, oh, you should have loaded the big stuff first, so that you wouldn't be so tired. To be honest, it doesn't matter. Some people plan so hard. Like, they'll sit there and strategize this stuff all day long. And they'll spend more time thinking about which logs they're going to load. That they waste so much more energy thinking than they do if they would have just started chucking logs. It's like, yeah, you know, like a game like chess, you gotta have strategy. A little bit, at least. Loading logs like this, you can just chuck them, man. Just grab and chuck. Put it in front of you, put it in the trailer. Don't spend any energy thinking about it. Just grab it and chuck it. And people, they like to say, oh, grab the big stuff first. Heck, they won't even have half this trailer loaded by now. They'd still be over at the first pile trying to strategize what they're gonna do, what they're gonna move next. Probably close the tailgate here in a second. Oh, this stuff don't come flying back at me. I haven't hit the tailgate, so we're getting close. thing's about 300 pounds. That's all, folks. Everything's all cleaned up, except for the stumps. It's load number 2. Going out of wood. Tore ruts in the yard a little bit. Can't really see them from this angle. Right there. But not too bad. This one's probably about 4 tons. The last one was 6.